Hi, this is Mark Giles. Welcome to the presentation. Today we're going to be talking about a very important topic. Should I buy a single family home or a multifamily home? Right. And we're going to be talking about it from an investor standpoint, and we're going to compare the single family home to a multifamily home from an investor standpoint. Let's Before we get started, I just want to go over a little housekeeping and let you know that this is a virtual workshop, and I am not an attorney and I'm not an accountant. If you need legal or uh, accounting advice, seek out an accountant or a lawyer. This is for educational and entertainment purposes. I am actually a mortgage loan originator, and I do these presentations for educational purposes only. So, this week's topic, I said before, should I buy a single family home or a multifamily home? And we're going to be looking at that from an investor's standpoint, which is different than a homeowner's standpoint. Lastly, the Center for Homeownership is bringing you this Center for Homeownership and Community Enterprise. My name is Mark Giles. I'm your host, and I love educating home buyers. I'm originally from the Bronx, and I'm a licensed realtor as well as a mortgage loan originator right here in New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. My passion is to educate home buyers. I spend all day answering questions about home ownership, and I'd love to answer your questions too. So if you have any, please hit me up, comment, direct message me, email me. And if you like the presentation and want to see more like it, please share it and comment, and also subscribe. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Okay, so let's start off with, what is a single family home? That sounds pretty obvious, but when from an investor standpoint, if you're an investor, single family home brings a lot more to meet the eye. So let's talk about some of the good things. It's more affordable, right? As an investor, you can buy a single family home with a less of a down payment than you can with a multifamily home. Multifamily homes typically have a larger down payment, and you can be pickier about your tenants, a little bit more pickier, right? You still have to, no matter what you buy, you have to adhere to all state guidelines in terms of renting to tenants there. So I would recommend you learn these guidelines, whether you're renting single or multifamily. So some of the good things with a single family home is it's easier and cheaper to get into. We said that you can be choosier about your tenants because you only have one tenant. So you can only have to rent to one, so you can, really go through one after the other after the other. With a multifamily, you can't be as picky because you're going to need to fill those apartments. There's less turnover, fewer vacancies. It's easier to sell later on. So just as it's easier for you to buy it now, it's going to be easier for you to sell it because there's going to be a lot more buyers who can afford to buy a single family than a multifamily home. Once again, the single family home offers it has options that multifamilies don't, with first time home buyer programs. And we have another video on first time home buyer programs if you want to check that out. We have a video on that we just put out there last week. So check that one out. Once again, with a single family home, you're going to find there's less maintenance because there's only one kitchen, certain amount of bathrooms. With a multifamily home, you're going to have more kitchens. Some of the bad things, you're only getting a certain amount of rent with a single family home. So with that rent, you have to pay your mortgage, you have to pay your expenses and cover everything. And if God forbid, if that tenant moves out of that apartment, you might have a vacancy, and you have to, while that tenant is out, you have to foot the bill. So as an investor, that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a return on investment. So some of the bad, as we said, the cash isn't as strong as a multifamily. Vacancies are more expensive. It's a lot harder to scale up because if you continue buying single family homes, you're not going to have the amount of apartments every time you make a purchase. If you're continually buying four family homes, you're going 4, 8, 12, 16 units. And that's a huge difference. Whereas single families, you're doing one at a time. Therefore, your returns, relatively speaking, are not going to be as high as they would be with a multifamily. Some of the pros and cons. Well, let's talk about what a multifamily home is. Multifamily home is a residential property that it contains more than one unit, more than one kitchen, and you can actually put 3, 4 families in there. Once you go beyond 4 families, you're talking about a commercial world. We're going to create a video on the commercial financing and commercial purchasing of homes, but right now we're sticking between 1 and 4 families when we're talking about a multifamily as an investment. So some of the good things about the multifamily home is you lower your per unit costs. So if you have 4 units in one building, it's going to cost you less per unit than having one unit, one family. So as an investor, that's a more appealing. You can expand your portfolio faster. So if you're buying 4 units at a time, like we said earlier, you are growing a lot faster than you would be buying a one family every month versus buying a four family every month. You can better your cash flow and have a bigger financial cushion because your cash flow is coming in. So if you have 4 units making $600 a month, that's $2,400 a month versus one unit making $800 a month. Your cash flow is much bigger, and the property value may appreciate faster if you work with your income. So if you are buying a property where the rents are $400 a month, depending on what city you're in New York City, you're talking about one family is getting $1,500 a month, and you have four apartments, each one has one bedroom, then you could get somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a month in a city like New York, maybe a little more depending. But if you fix the apartment up over time, your rents will increase. And if you really make it a luxury apartment, let's say you take it up to $1,600 a month times four. Now the property is going to be worth more because you're bringing more income into your organization, and you can turn around and sell the property most likely at a higher value because of this generating more rental income. So that's good. Now, what is the bad? When you have dozens of units to fill, so if you bought 6 4-family properties, you almost have yourself a management company now. So now you're going to be looking to manage these properties and grow your organization, which is good. Some people may see that as bad. One man's or one woman's problem is another person's benefit, right? So it's all about you, what you can tolerate, and what your goals are and what your plans are. So that might not be bad. So everything is relative. You cannot be as picky with tenants. Why? Because you're going to have so many vacancies that you're going to need to fill them. So you're going to really just kind of have people coming through. Obviously, you're going to do your regular checks and you're going to work within the letter of the law in terms of housing rules. You'll have a harder time with financing. Well, that goes both ways. So these things we're talking about here aren't actually etched in stone, right? Because as you are saving money and have a greater cushion, you would be eligible for financing. But typically, after you buy your first multifamily home, you're going to require that you put larger down payments, maybe like 30% down on a multifamily house. So compared to a one family, you might be able to get in with 20% down or even 15 in some cases to buy an investment property. And you probably lean on other people. A lot of investors that I know, they take on partners, they take on investors, and that's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. I mean, that's the sign of growth. But with growth comes more learning, more education, and you're going to grow internally. So it could be a positive thing. It doesn't have to be bad. It will also be harder to sell later on. Just as you might need to put down 30% to buy the property, then the person who you're going to sell the house to will also need to put down what they might consider to be a large chunk. And so you're going to have less people because less people have 30% to put down on, let's say, a $900,000 house. That's $300,000, right? Or $1 million property at 4 units in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens would require 30% down. That's $300,000. And a lot of people don't customarily have $300,000. Well, in New York, a lot of people do, but you'll find a lot more people who have 3.5% down to buy a one family house or 3% down to buy a one family house. So you'll get a lot more people coming through with a one family house than you would with a 4 family house. Okay, so that's just something to consider. Once again, we said nothing here is etched in stone, but what we're doing here is we're thinking out loud. We're comparing the differences and the pros and the cons. So one man's or one woman's con is another person's pro. So you got to really look at what your goals are, what your objectives are, what your capabilities are, and take these things into consideration. But the bottom line is, as always, at the end of the day, you have to choose between the two. You don't have to choose between the two. You could probably buy a one family, then a 4 family. I always recommend, if you're interested in buying multi-unit properties, start off in the very beginning with a house you're going to move into, make that a multifamily. With an FHA loan, you can actually buy a 4 family house with as little as 3.5% down. that is a great deal. And we have another program, another video workshop on FHA loans. Please go in the portal and check that out. Love to share that with you. And finally, there's no cost to sit down with a professional like myself, talk about how the financing works. Always here answering questions for everybody every day, and I can certainly answer yours too. So hit me up, like the video, subscribe. Love to you to join us and come on our journey with us. And I'd love to be on your journey with you as you buy more real estate, more homes. It's an exciting thing to do. So until next time, next video, I'll bid you adieu and enjoy.